Hey, welcome to another episode of the Meaningful People podcast. First of all, thank you for clicking on this and watching this or listening to this. First things first, for starters, if you want to win $200 just from watching this episode or actually commenting on this episode on YouTube, you're going to go ahead and type down below in the comments, you are not alone. People who are watching this, who are going through some mental health crisis, struggle, the normal stuff even, seeing that message could do a lot for them. You even add on to that message. Leave a message, but just to enter the raffle, you type "you are not alone" down below. You're entered to win $200. We are going to reply to one lucky winner on Thursday night, so stay tuned for that. Secondly, you see an episode of Lipa Schmeltzer and you might think, oh, wow, I can't wait to listen to this with my kids and my family. Okay, let's pump the brakes right there. This episode may not be for your kids and your family, or if you're a kid listening to this, maybe ask an adult if this episode is for you. Sensitive topics are discussed. We get extremely vulnerable in this episode, Lipa. We speak about his past. A past which he says he wouldn't change anything, but a lot has happened. And Baruch Hashem, he has gone in a healing process recently. And guys, this is Lipa Schmeltzer, as vulnerable as you're ever going to see in your entire life. And trigger warning. That's what I'm going to say. So stay tuned, buckle your seatbelt. It's a great episode, but it may not be for you. So make sure you know that. This episode is sponsored by my friends at PZ Deals. You know, this episode may not be for you, but PZ Deals is for you. That's for sure. I hope you're listening to this part. PZ Deals is the best deals app in the entire world. So you're going to head to the App Store, the Google Play Store, and download the PZ Deals app today. Need a new stroller? Need some items for Pesach? Maybe some plasticware, like, the dishes, that stuff. Is it even called plasticware? I don't know. But you could probably get it on PZ Deals. They have amazing deals on everything from A to Z. It's PZ. It's a great name. Anyways, download the app today and never pay full price again. By getting the PZ Deals app, you make those custom notifications. You'll never pay full price again. This episode is also sponsored by Kosher Providence. Yes, guys, you may want to think about moving. Get out of the rat race. No more, like our good friend Shirley Rozelle said, you got to make 300, 350 to make it in the in-town communities. Well, Providence could be for you. And they are continuing their amazing recruitment. If you move to Providence, Rhode Island, they are going to contribute $50,000 to your house purchase and a free tuition at Providence Hebrew Day School for your children in the first year. How awesome is that? Definitely should get you thinking about, well, what is in Providence? So what is Providence all about? Well, Providence is a very safe and warm place. That's something you should know. I actually was in Providence not too long ago in the summer. Beautiful place. Houses are affordable. They are nice. Providence is only 1 hour from Boston, 3 hours from New York. You can get in the car and you could be there in one or two of these episodes, just like that. Providence is a beautiful, new, upcoming Orthodox community. The school there is an Orthodox school that's been around since 1946. It's a beautiful place, and you and your family could think about, maybe this could be home. You can head to providencetorah.com. That is providencetorah.com, and find out if this could be your home. Until then, I hope you enjoy this episode with Lipa Schmeltzer. Lipa.
Yeah, Shalom Aleichem.
Did we ever meet? I don't think we ever met.
No.
Well, I definitely, I've been to my fair share of concerts as a kid.
Beautiful.
And I was by the big event, or the event.
Beautiful.
They changed the name, right? It was originally the big event, then it was the event. It's good.
Wow,
times.
we can talk about this from a different light than people would expect.
But your life really deserves like a movie. God willing, someone's gonna make a movie of your life, because it's like there's so many different I feel variations of Lipa, right? From who you were growing up, to who you were when you hit the music scene, to who you were your second time around, and this and that. And what do you think about all that?
So first of all, about writing about a movie or a book, it's funny because years ago I was for sure I'm going to write a book. And my meditation then to write a book was coming from a whole different place. And I'm going to do, and I'm going to change, and I'm going to write, and I'm going to... And there were some books that came out, and you can hear in the voice that people have certain upsetness or pain. And for books, it's beautiful because people like and love to read juicy stories. And at one point, I had a professional, like a big writer, calling me that he wants to be my ghostwriter. And at that time, it's look how Hashem is leading the world. I was like, wow, yeah. let's do this. And I spoke to him, and then I figured out he wants 50 grand from me. In other words, he was looking for a job.
Yeah.
I didn't have the 50 grand. It was meant to be, because had I have the funds that time, maybe I would just do it. And the book would stay forever. Now, Baruch Hashem, I can say my hands are clean. For example, let's say songs. Let's say certain songs have different times in my life where I was in different moods, but it's okay. It's a song. It's always good. It's a good, beautiful joke here, a tiny shtoch there, but it's not a book of a story. And that's one point. The other point is, even when I wanted to write my full story, I didn't even know or remember my full story, which later, through a lot of healing, I got my full puzzle more. And now I'm in a place where I'm already past that puzzle too. I'm already moving on. So everything is for a reason. So now you would ask me, okay, so it seems like what you're saying is, so now you're really ready to write that book. So I don't think I'm fully ready, because I work on different things before my book. I work on my life. And B, if I would write a book today, it would be way different than 5 years ago. It would all be about really making a difference and impact in the most positive way, the most positive light. Now, if I continue in this, not if, Be'ezer Hashem, I will continue on this route. And then if I write a book, it will have more light.
Yeah.
And then if I don't write a book, so look, every interview is snippets of the book.
Yeah, that's true.
And it comes out in different lights.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. How old are you when you, I feel like you were pretty young when you got into the scene.
Yeah, no? I probably started by 1920. You have to check the exact, officially public by 20 years old.
What led to that? Like, what was going on in your life before that moment where you just sort of like...
Simple. I was trying to, I was really, if I put it in one umbrella word, I was in flight to fight mode for the most of my life. For those who don't know what it is, they can Google it.
How come?
Because of a lot of the upbringing and a lot of things that happened. And, which I didn't even know. And I was trying to be, like, in art, they say a bird's eye view, like, let's say there's a way of drawing something from a regular horizon view. I'm not going to complain every little detail, but it's basically the way our eyes has a cone of vision. So if you take the Palisades, the highway, and you open it up from Muncie till Manhattan, you're not going to see till Manhattan if you stand on the floor, because it's going to sound like the road becomes narrower. Now, really, the road, as you drive your car, you realize, no, it's opening up. It's not narrower. Now, really, it doesn't open up. It's not narrower. We have something called a cone of vision. Think about a traffic cone in construction and turn it over. This is how your eye, one of the aspects how it works, is imagine that you take a traffic cone and you look in the wide side of it, like in the wide hole. You look inside, and then it goes narrower and narrower, and we're limited. And this, by the way, for me, all these things strengthens my belief, because we're designed, and we have a camera system, and that's why the big the photographers come with these big lenses, because they want to lengthen
like
their cone of vision.
Yeah.
So, and the iPhone, and every year they make a better camera. The Android is just to lengthen what we can see and bring it closer. That means we are limited in what we can see, which means that we're way more limited than we think, and. But if you live high, like where I live in Pomona, you could see till Manhattan. Yeah. Because the distance, because you have a different view when you're up high, is not so interfered to see the buildings. The buildings are very high, so the cone of vision is not interfering so much. So what I'm trying to say is that the more time goes by in life, the spiritual cone of vision, the spiritual eye, can see things different. When I see teenagers coming in to life, and I'm thinking, there's so many things in their age I didn't know. I was in it. I was like being by one end of the Palisades, that even if you cut all the trees, I can't see till Manhattan.
What didn't you know that you wish, if you could talk to your teenage self, that you could tell him?
It's difficult to say, because really knowing would mean that I would have the wisdom and the life experience that I have now, but then...
What would you say?
In the most simple format, I would say, let's sit down, let's breathe, let's take it easy. Like, I'll give you an example. I came in here and I was fixing a mix for an English version of my new album.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the old Lipa, the English version will be out 4 days after the Yiddish version. Just because I need that hit. I need that fix of, wow, the few people were telling me, Lipa, wow, amazing. And I need it now. I need it this second. So I would sing quickly till 6 a.m., 9 a.m., even if it's not so good. Okay, whatever, just mix it, just finish it. I would scream at the mixer. I would be like, quickly, what do you mean? I told you. Blah, blah, blah. And now we're a month after the CD. And there was little tiny hiccups. I'm working with the guy that masters it. He's in Israel. The hours are different. He didn't understand exactly that I'm making 3 versions, what it means. Like, I have a song, Poel Geviris. He tells me, that's not the English version, that's the Yiddish version. I had to explain him that that's just Hebrew thriller, and I'm leaving the same words. Little tiny things. Also, life gets in the way. This second, like, I'm almost ready for the master. This other guy from Israel who mixes for me, he says, no, he didn't send me the files the way I needed it. He thought I just needed it for myself. He didn't understand I'm giving out another version. These little things 4 years ago would be big things. It would make me aggravated. It would be like, what do you mean? And from a bird's eye view, it's a good analogy because it's also educational, but it's also true. I'm thinking, what is it going to be if I'm coming out 4 days after the CD? Every 3 seconds, there's new music coming out.
Yeah.
I want to be the one that differentiates myself by coming out with the best that I can come out. And it's not about, it's before Peter. Come on, what are you giving out? I don't need to. I can take it very slow. And since my album came out, my Yiddish version, until now, I'm growing every week with leaps and leaps. I think it's a lot of work. You know, it's like when you put money in the stock market or in any market. I'm talking about safe stocks, regular, normal. It's important to say because you come from a
not crypto
culture that we want to get rich right away. And then I'm talking about regular, like let's say S&P. So the first few years, it's going to be very slow. But once everything goes up and then you compare it, in 20 years, you compare what you put in originally, the percentage, then it becomes very high. You know, you take 10 times 10, and then after a few years, it's different. So the same thing, I feel like I'm growing every week. Like even from the mixing of my Yiddish album until now, I slow down even more. And when these little tiny hiccups come, I don't call it hiccups, I call it lessons. And I say, thank you for the lesson. I'm taking it in. I wanted to slow down even more. So my plan was to come out with the Yiddish version, English version, all within 1 month, and the Hebrew version. And now I'm coming out with the English version, hopefully a week after Purim. The Hebrew version maybe in the summer.
Right.
Very, very slow. So I would tell that time, but I'm going to bring this into how emunah comes in, because we're not in charge. And sometimes we're not supposed to know. And I have a song I want to write about Udam Rishon, that if we can all learn from experience, like if you can learn from your parents and my kids can learn from me, then there would only be Udam Rishon. And it must be that the story is that everybody has to go through. And even if they try to learn from the parents and from the Rabbeim and teachers, we all have to go through it ourselves. And my pshat is maybe there is only Udam Rishon and we're all Udam Rishon, but we all have to go through it ourselves. So maybe I wasn't supposed to know all this, because maybe in reality you could ask me this question and I can make it feel nice that I would tell myself to breathe, but really there wouldn't be a Lipa.
Right.
If I know everything I know today,
so you wouldn't change anything, really. You wouldn't change anything that you went through in life.
I wouldn't change anything, because
and I'm sure there's a lot of pain.
There's a lot of pain, but today I'm also learning lately Kabbalah a little more, and see, we have there's so many things that control our narrative that we don't even know, and the subconscious layers. That even for me, for example, in this narrative, when I say I learn Kabbalah, I give like a tiny. I should mention it because it's just mention it's okay. And what if tomorrow I don't do it? Okay, but for now I learn it, and it talks about when you have pain to just daven, give me more of this pain, just give me more, because really, what's pain? Pain is a very humanistic thing. Everything that we were trained that one day you'll be punished, you go to Gehenna. And I think it's very important to talk about this stuff because some people are really living this and being afraid that it's almost Hashem is holding that we're on top of the mountain and Hashem is holding like a little string, and every now, well, it's going to take you just a matter of time till Hashem is going to pull the string and you're going to fly down, you're going to break your head. And it's not like that. Hashem is beautiful. There's pain. What's pain? The world has a system.
It's different. It's a different manifestation of Hashem's love, ultimately.
Also, and also, it's a humanistic thing. When you say Gehenna, this is almost shalom to make us understand things. If you think about getting a punch in the face, what's a punch? It's a very physical thing. Somebody takes a hand and puts it on your face. This is cartilage. There's a nervous system. It makes you feel the punch. This is a certain humanistic experience that we were given as a gift to experience a human life. I once heard a word that we're really Rachnisdige people. They say spiritual people, but I think I'll say it like this to make it understand more. We're Rachnisdige people who came here to experience a Gashmisdige life. They say we're spiritual beings came here to experience a human. I don't know who's quoted. By the way, that's another thing. Some people, especially I think
it's Rabbi YY, no? Rabbi YY, I hear say that all the time.
Okay, so Baruch Hashem, YY is good stuff, and he gives a lot of good energy. But I'm saying sometimes people say a quote by us.
Yeah.
And let's say it's a quote that comes from a secular place. They don't want to say where the quote is, but they want to say the quote. So I try to say quotes, B'Shem Amram, but if I don't know it, I say at least I don't know it. So it's not my quote, it's a known quote. But to say it in a Yiddish sprach is, we're Rachnisdige neshamas that come here to experience a Gashmisdige life. And it only makes sense because we're here for such a short time in the big scheme of things. So pain, and of course, pain hurts, and that's why it's called pain. I'm not saying pain doesn't hurt. I'm just saying pain is just as a part of life as love.
You're saying it's also a gift.
Yeah, it's part of the gift of living. It's part of the gift of living. It's just that's how. And I'm not even talking. It's like there's huge pain. There's pain of death and there's pain of people dying. I'm talking about you make your coffee and it didn't come out well. You wake up and you wouldn't want to worry about your bills and you would want everything should be in the bank the way you want, and then you look at your bank and you're minus for $300. Oh, and you don't know where to get it. These type of pains are part of life. Now the other types of pains are also part of life. But
even all these, this is really, we wouldn't know what joy is if we didn't feel pain. Meaning, if you never had a good coffee in your life, you wouldn't know what a bad coffee is. If you never had money in your life, you wouldn't know, what it means to lose money.
Yeah, so, and I'll take it to the worst pain. If there wouldn't be death, there wouldn't be life.
It's true.
Because imagine, you're here forever. Like I once asked somebody, if I tell you now there's a pill, you can live for another 5,000 years. Let's start make a schedule. How do you view it? With your einiglich, great-grandchildren, 50 generations, where are you in the scheme of things in 1,000 years from now? It's almost like the mind can't grasp it. It's like, So, and then it's all relative because it was a time that life was only until 40 years, which meant that people by 20, they were already
halfway done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, would you take that pill? 5,000 years?
It's a big question.
What's your answer?
I don't know I don't know. I guess if the pill comes out, most probably the desire to live is so strong that I would take it. But
you might regret it though.
What?
You might regret it.
Yeah, but I guess also it's not rational. Why is it not rational? Because we're not designed. If that's going to come out, that means we'll be designed differently. But for now, we're not designed to live that long, so it's not rational. Meaning to say, we're designed to want to live, and so much want to live because we know it's so short.
Yeah.
Because we know it's so short and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. People die young. And even if we live till 100 years, it's short. And you get older, you're never going to be 20 again. Okay, so and that gives the desire and the drive. So it's all the same thing, everything, the chemical in the brain. We need the sadness. We need anxiety. Who wants to live without anxiety? If a snake comes by, you have to know you don't go near it.
Right.
If you don't have anxiety, you put your finger in a fire. So, but then we have sometimes too much of it. And the same thing with serotonin. or any other hormones.
Is that something that you experience a lot of in your life?
So
anxiety?
I have had way more. And thank God that now I'm in a very, very calm place. I was just sitting with somebody yesterday. Haskonam brought somebody to me to try to help and to talk him into to take something. Baruch Hashem, in a place in my life, I even wrote, there's a Yiddish magazine, and I wrote very honestly. I have
moment?
Yeah.
Your brother L'chaim was telling me about it. And I said, I want to read it, but it's all in Yiddish. And
so one day I'll do it in English.
It.
But first about the moment, what I want to explain is that I'm sacrificing my whole ego, my ego is beautifully saying that it's sacrificing the ego. But I'm sacrificing the whole image to help people. What is it? What else is there? So what? So people will think Lipa is this. They'll let them think. They talk to me 5 minutes. They see who I am really. But with this Bucher, I was explaining him, if you really can change your whole diet, if you can every single day run for 1 hour and go into nature, walk, or run or walk, and journal for a half hour, and I'll give you some breathing exercises, then within 3 months, you're a different person and you don't have to take anything. But while I was talking to him, he was sipping wine after wine. I said, but in this matzav, where your diet is not anywhere near it's supposed to be, and you have a chemical imbalance.
Yeah.
It's not your fault. And you don't want to exercise, and you want to be in bed all day. And you don't want to do breath work. You don't want to journal. You don't want to go to therapy. He doesn't want to go. I said, the only option is you take something or something's going to happen to you. Now, I don't know if he's going to listen because, I'm Lipa. He wants to talk to me, so I made a thing with him. I'm not talking to you anymore in my life until you helped yourself for 3 months. And then I talk to you once a week. And it's hard for me, but to help somebody in a shuma, I can help generations by helping him.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that people can heal themselves. Like I had anxiety in the past. And now, no one should tell me it's just genetic. And if you have it, you're always going to have it, because I'm now in the most calm place in my life. Like the story I shared with you about my CD. I'm so calm.
You seem very mellow.
Yeah.
You seem very calm.
Yeah. My manager.
Were you always like this?
I was not. I was jumping. My feet. 40 years.
Yeah.
My feet was shaking.
So when people saw that version of Lipa, I mean, on the outside, everyone's like, "Oh, this guy is so fun. He's crazy, jumping, going nuts." But internally, you were unhealthy. That's what you're saying.
Yes. Absolutely. I was unhealthy internally.
And you were entertaining everyone.
Maybe let's just say less healthy.
Less healthy.
Unhealthy is a very strong statement.
Right. Were you happy?
I was not happy, but I can. Nobody in the world ever mentioned to me that maybe I should go for help, which means to say I'm a person that's probably the most vocal in the community besides therapists. That's their life. The most vocal about help. Sometimes I'm already getting annoyed by myself. Like let's say I make an interview and then I hear it and I hear the word healing again. I'm like, I want to make eep, like, because I'm thinking I said it again. And like I want to be this entertainer in any given. And maybe I'll take a break from talking about it, but it's okay. Nobody ever told me to go for help. And I was longing something inside. And for some reason, talking about Hashem's way of doing things and writing the story with the pain, everything went wrong. I started, the guy didn't have a degree. He was talking to, he charged me $150 for a session. He was davening by a certain rabbi here in Monsey. I had a big yitzhara to say which street now, and then it would shame the rabbi, but I didn't, Baruch Hashem. And then I was having controversy for no good reason. In Yiddish, there's a word called a nasalalach, which means you take a sheet and it's all out of the wash machine. You're putting it on the table and the chair and dining room. A bed sheet, it will make everything verschmutzt. So it's like a way of saying, it's not your fault, but they put on you a nasalalach and you go around and answer everybody. I had a wedding in Toronto now. I'm coming back to where I was. It's also a thing. Usually
the weave. You're like Donald Trump. You're the weave. They call it the weave.
Wow. So I wasn't like this. I used to go off and stay off. And they said ADD. But really now I know it wasn't ADD. And I finished degrees and I'm learning now. My head is Baruch Hashem. But there was different blockages that kept on taking me away. But now it's a weave that I'm coming back. And now we went to the third topic with Trump. So I hope I'll be able to come back. Not to remind me. But we started with The Help.
Toronto.
With Monty and Toronto. So Toronto, and this guy is a doctor. He didn't even know it's my cousin. And he's probably you're the type of interview that one of the cousins is probably going to hear your interview, which is okay. It's a nice philanthropy wedding. And a mitzvah in English. I had to really work on it, and it was nice. But when I talked to him on the phone, he's asking me, can I be blunt with you? I said yes. It's funny, he's my cousin. He didn't hire me. The other one hired me. But now, we're cousins.
Yeah.
And they're both like nice people and doing well in Yiddishkeit and in the world and in philanthropy. He says, you were here 10 years ago. And I feel almost like crying when I say this. I want to feel it. Because it represents so much. It's not just this story. I can go now and become emotional and cry, which is also good, but I can also stop myself. So he says, you were here 10 years ago and someone threw you off the stage. I don't know what happened. I don't want to get into the details, but I'm asking about my wedding. We're very, we're idle people. We like it to be very normal because, so min hashamayim. So now I believe very much. I believe in Gilgil, whatever. I believe in a lot of things that we were taught that I couldn't make sense. Now I also don't know. It's all humanistic minds, but I was thinking it was so bashir because I'm now in such a healing place, and he's my cousin, and we could be Gilgilim from Rav Shaila. So Rav Shaila and Moshe today is very big. So a lot of it is the real thing. A lot of it people chapping on to the thing, but it's all real. But my side, from both sides, so think of it that from my father's side is the Flatbush style of guy. Think of it like this. And from my mother's side is the Wilhelmsburg Satmar type of guy. Just imagine. So from the Wilhelmsburg Satmar type of guy's side is my mother's grandfather, and he was the Shakul, but Shaila Kerestirer. To the point that on the oil, there's a big matzeva for him. The other side is the Schmeltzer side, and there's a book. Wow, I'm weaving it like Trump like crazy. I'm up to 5 stories, but I'll get back. It's an exercise for my mind. So there's a book, Moifes Hadar, and one day I open it up and I see letters from Shaila Kerestirer signed to my side, which means my father's father's father. My elder side, that's it. It's not like far away. He was a Nugget, and he helped Rav Shaila with his activities. And interestingly enough, one point in my life I didn't have money. I didn't have panosa, not money. Because of all the good things that was done to me, Baruch Hashem was all good. It's funny because even in this, is 6 point, even in this, but that's the last point. I'll get back in order. So when I had my comeback and the Stendiks helped me out. So at one point Stendik said, don't say any more comeback. You're already good and we don't talk about it. Because I think it was part of the Nasalalach. I think now I'm already so in a good place that I can even talk about it. It comes from a healthy place. So Eli Kleinman took me into work for him, and it wasn't so much work because he took me in to sing for all the people. Most of his clients were Chinese and other stuff. But I was like, in case, and I also did marketing for him. And then I get to find out that his mother is the daughter of the Gabba of Reb Shaila Kerestirer. And there's a letter that Reb Shaila is thanking Lipa Schmeltzer. And underneath, Eli Zayda is writing, you always send me also for Yontav. Remember, it's Yontav. I have 12 kids. Don't forget about me. And my Lipa Schmeltzer helped Eli Zayda. I'm talking about Gilgulim. 2 generations later, I was in a place I didn't have, and he didn't have to do it. He didn't gain who knows much, and he really helped me for 3 years.
Wow.
So getting back in order now. So this wedding in Toronto. So I tell this mechit,
he triggered you.
Not he triggered me, the story, and I'll tell you why. This mechitten is a very nice mechitten. He really means well. What he doesn't know is, I didn't do anything wrong. It was really not my fault. I'm talking about anything. And that particular chasana, what happened was...
So you remember...
So I remembered what it was. There was a chasana, and then I'll tell you why I took a deep breath and what's the trigger. It's not the trigger like, I remember you made a crash in my car and I'm breathing like this.
Yeah.
That would mean that I'm not healed.
Right.
Even if it's okay to feel. But the feeling is much deeper than that, and I'll get to it. The feeling is because it's still happening. It's a big difference. If somebody has an accident 10 years ago and it's in the past is one thing to forgive. And if somebody got hit on the knee and they walk with a cane all their life and it still hurts them whenever they sit down, it's much harder to so people don't understand that this story ran after me for years. It's in perfect English they would say has been running after me. It's like something.
Is it all stems from this concert in Toronto?
All stems from the whole package.
What happened in Toronto?
Not Toronto.
Oh, just the whole parsha.
The whole parsha. Okay. Toronto is one anecdote.
Okay.
So one rabbi who was then very outspoken was by a wedding, and I sang by the wedding. And that was the beginning then of the flash mobs, where the kala is asking for a song, and they put in. So they plugged in a song, if I'm not mistaken, don't catch me on this, they can ask them, I'm almost sure this was the song. One to the left right now, one to the right, one to the right, one to the left.
Okay.
They plugged in this song for the woman to dance, and the chusna went into the other side, to the dance for the kala. And I happened to be just on stage at the time because I sang right before, and I was thinking maybe I'll need to sing after. But this guy was so in kas that he came up on stage and he shook the leader of the band, like shook him, and he plugged out the whole system, and I don't remember if he hit me or whatever. I was already, from all the years from as a child that I've been through, it was like certain things happen again and again, even in adulthood. It's like they say in psychology, is the eyes of somebody that's a victim is giving like almost like a green light to somebody. I'm that. So even if it's a total different type of victim, different stories, I was kind of embarrassed in public.
Yeah.
Now I moved on a million years, helped myself. Here comes a mechitten who's my cousin. He doesn't know. He just knows I want a normal wedding. I don't want something to happen.
There's no drama, yeah.
Now what does this trigger for me? That I could have probably been 3 times a year in Toronto for the past 10 years. And maybe I was there only once because 50 other mechetonim said, I don't know what was, something. And they thought, it's Lipa. And Chassan in Lakewood, a guy was marrying over Iranikel a half a year ago. Choshev guy, it looked like a Choshev Chassan, a Toyre dig, which I have a lot now in Lakewood. And he said, I want to ask you Mechila. Because you were once embarrassed in Barapak by Chassana. And I was younger. I wasn't an Eltezaider like I'm now. And I just thought it's your fault. And now I know it wasn't. Can you forgive me? And I said, absolutely. But that's what I'm saying, walking with the cane. Baruch Hashem, I'm not walking with the cane. And there's a lot of things I'm a tzliach and I'm okay. But there was many years in my life, like a guy like me in my age, in business even, I should have saved a lot and do different investments. I was for most of my life until now in flight to fight mode, trying just to survive and make a living for my kids and not having them receiving the trauma and to be in a place where you can't even talk about it. Like even childhood stuff, which I'm not, even if I'm hinting at it, I want to stay at this pace, just hinting at it all the time and not going into it.
Okay.
And like we can touch on it, but whatever. The point is, probably why I'm even saying this introduction is also fear, peer pressure. Don't talk about it. Just move on. Don't be this guy. Don't be this victim. Just
there's people,
you're the rock star. Just be. And it's not fair because a person should be able to express at least 20% of what happened to me.
This episode is sponsored by my friends at Kol Chabad, and here's a Tzedakah Minute sponsored by Kol Chabad. Okay, guys, listen. The Medrash says, more than the rich man does for the poor man does for the rich. What? What does that mean? And the simple answer is because when you give tzedakah, it absolutely transforms you. Those opportunities transform you. We spoke about last week that it's good to give less amounts, more times than one time, a lot of amounts. So the Kol Chabad Tzedakah Pushka app is perfect for you. Download that app today in the App Store. Start giving tzedakah. Give a little tzedakah. Give a little tzedakah. Give some for the poor and needy. And your neshama is needy. You know that? And it's going to do a lot more for you than it will do for even the people receiving. So download the Kol Chabad Pushka Tzedakah app today, right now. It is an amazing app. And you have a pushka in your pocket. What could be better than that? Head to pushka.cc/meaningful. That is pushka.cc/meaningful. This episode is also sponsored by my friends at Lalechet. We are right there. The summer is just about to be here. And you know what happens in the summer? A lot of trips. Maybe for your shul, maybe for your community, maybe for your family. Now, where is the first place to start when you're doing that? Yes, you guessed it. Lalechet. You're going to head to lalechet.com because the first thing you need to do when planning a trip like this is really figuring out who's going to deal with everything. I know you have that one guy in your chevra who's geschickt. He knows how to make things on the road. He knows how to plan things. He has the map and he knows where to go. And he thought the shul was there, but he was 200 miles off. No more stories. None of that needs to happen. Choose Lalechet and actually enjoy. Actually enjoy. A beautiful trip, a beautiful experience starts with lalechet.com. They will plan your trip from A to Z. You want to go with family, friends, community, you're a gabe in a shul, A to Z, they will take care of you. Flights, board, food, catering, tour guides, everything. Head to lalechet.com right now.
In the context of this conversation, I mean, there are people who are listening that maybe too have gone through things in their childhood.
So you know what? I'm taking it back. Ask me whatever you want, I'll say it. But I want to just go back in order with a few things I said, just to weave it.
Sure.
Like the new word you taught me, weaving. And then you can ask me whatever you want and I'll answer.
Go for it.
So with this mechutten, he was like feeling bad and he apologized. And I said, no, you didn't do anything wrong. We are cousins. In 4 generations from now, the way the world is going, maybe it's going to be different because of the internet. But for the past, if I ask you 4 generations ago, you don't even know many cousins.
Yeah.
And that's how it's funny because the first generation, you want to help your kids and then you einiglich and then boom. So I said, you're my cousin. We'll go gulim. We'll go back to Kerestir. We're definitely going back from a different lifetime. And it had to come out from you because I did so much healing and I have to be able to, my little child in me should hear the closure. So are you ready to hold a vessel for me, even if you're a mechitten, just because you're my cousin? And I wouldn't tell this to any other mechitna. Can you hold a vessel for 30 seconds that I can show my inner child that I tell this to you and to the grandfather from Kerestir? Can I tell you something? He said, yes. And I said, I just want to tell you, it wasn't my fault. That's it. Just want to tell you that. And then I moved on with the wedding. I don't know, I'm a little bit more emotional today, but it's okay. So going back, so this was the wedding in Toronto. So going back to the package of to the therapy. So then I go to therapy before everything. It was all life lessons. By the way, even talking about this whole parsha, I wouldn't be Lipa today, not only in my strength. Maybe I would sing for 6 years in square and I would go out, meaning people would take another singer.
Yeah.
It also built my name. I have to recognize, I have to say it the way as it is. No self-pity. To say it as it is. And it's amazing because all these interviews, it comes out bits and pieces of me and it's okay. Because what my body can handle. So to go back to this therapist, he didn't have license, but I didn't know. Because what did I know? Somebody said he's good. He opened me like Kitamaran, he started to learn with me. I share with him about Nisyonis. Even this, it'd be so hard for people. You know, everybody has a screen protector as if they think nobody knows. Like everybody's the same human and we all try. We work on ourselves. So I was like a real Hasidic man, whatever my Hasugas was there from Nisyonis. I spoke to him, so he opened me up playing Hasidus. It was funny. So then he went to his Rav, Imanzi, and shared with him, you know who's coming to me? Lipa. And shared with him whatever I shared with him behind closed doors.
That's not okay.
So this Rav went, and he had like some people from Square that he knew, and he said, you think you know Lipa? I have a guy in my shul who is a therapist.
He counsels him.
And he tells me that Lipa tells him A, B, C, D. So one of them was my friend. He said, did you ever like have this thought or that or whatever my sugas was, shtissim, whatever. You know, I'm divorced obviously, so maybe I spoke about some things, maybe my struggles. So he said, and I was like shocked.
Yeah,
I never
it's a slap in the face. Yeah.
He says, this Rav says he has this therapist. Because I stopped going to him. Half a year later, I hear that somebody mastered him and he had to run to Israel. But 3 years later, or maybe 5 years, I had a shul. Yeah, 5 years for sure. I had a shul and I invited the speaker to come in the shul to speak. And he joined and he asked me, Mechila, I'm sure if I would be where I am today, I would be moichel, but I would at least have a deep conversation with him. I think out of the codependency that I was busy organizing the drosha and he's coming together with this Rav, with this other. So I was like, yeah, moichel, but really now I'm thinking about it, it was a Michigan story. It made me not go for help for another year. Then I had to go again. So it goes back to we're going to weaving.
Yeah.
It goes back to the drive that I always had a drive to help myself. I tried, you name it, I tried it. I spent so much money, and it's not my fault. It's not nobody's fault. And maybe these people can learn from it. But it's my goidel. And I spent so much of my
chasing help.
Chasing help.
You mentioned before, and it really like stuck out to me when you said, when we were talking about you as, you know, as a younger 20, 25-year-old energetic entertainer, that it may have been a cry of help. All your antics, all the things that you may have been doing could have been a cry for help that nobody was really seeing.
Absolutely, that's what it was.
And we see that nowadays with different performers in Hollywood where they're child stars and then they burn out and God knows what happens. But like, people don't care about the cry for help.
People don't care. People are afraid. It's. I'll give you both sides of the coin. Life, they have this word, like life is unfair. We can look at it this way and just make peace with it. And we can say life is fair. Because my fame that I have, by some people, could also be unfair. And I'm saying even good people, like people who try to get into the music business and they can think, why did Lipa make it? Yeah, we can go into the talent, but really it's my talent. I sharpened it, I worked on it, and I'm still working on it. There's a desire, but even in this, we can say it's all programmed. What's the fault of somebody who doesn't have that drive? And some people have more drive than me.
Yeah.
And some people go into business. I have my visual art, I paint. I graduated from Columbia University in 2018. I still don't have a website of my art because I have so much overwhelmingness. I was hearing from a guru who also gives Kabbalah sheet, but he also gives motivational. And he said sometimes people think if they have many ideas, it's a blessing. But sometimes that's the blockage, that's the negativity. You have too much ideas, too many.
Distraction, yeah.
And I was like, wow, I want to call this guy. This is me. And sometimes in the visual arts, because I want to do this art. And only lately, I'm like, every day, I'm just creating for 3 hours approximately. And I have a journal, which I start specifically about art, because I wrote myself a letter. I said, if you write every day about what you want from the art, 2 things will happen. You get clarity in the art, but you also get to the machla of what's behind that mishigas that pushes you all the time. Wow, I'm not good. What's that? So that's journaling. Journaling is just like you're writing, you're talking to yourself. So talking about fear, not fear, in celebrities, like in the secular world, let's say there's a big celebrity and they have millions and millions of dollars, which in our case is not the case. And I also had to sweat through way more on the opposite side. But, and let's say one day they get caught with something and they're being bashed. So you could say it's unfair, but you could also say the right word is not maybe unfair for the other side, but the luck that you got, that you became so huge and that people love you, is also out of the ordinary. So it goes with the price.
The higher you climb, the higher you fall.
Yeah. So let's say if somebody doesn't have patience to listen to Lipa yaining or saying, I've been through and da-da-da. First of all, disclaimer, if somebody taki gets triggered, they can close the interview because it's meant for other people who could gain from it. But I also have to give the benefit of the doubt for people who say, Lipa, I'm a fan of yours. I love your songs. I want everything should be perfect by you, like a computer, because you're an icon in my house. And that's all I want for me and my kids. I don't want anything else. So, of course, I can't give in to that, but I could at least have an understanding that the same way I'm lucky that they like my stuff, I have to understand that they're so attached that it bothers them anything that changes the story. Especially where we come from, it's so judging, like I said one day, and I want to say it now clearer. Could you imagine if a Rebbe, Chevra, I didn't tell you this until now, there's a certain struggle I have. I have a computer in my house, and when nobody sees, I do a lot of searching. I know you didn't know that. I did a lot of help. I'm doing Shiva now, and I want you to be understanding with me. I'm going to work on myself. The first Rebbe who's going to do it, people say he got a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
Because he has to be perfect. And if he's not perfect, then it's not a Rebbe. Could you imagine? David HaMelech writes about everything he was done. Could you imagine a world and I think it's gonna happen. I don't know when, but one day we'll stand
I think
up.
it's happening.
It's happening by slow not slow by
Baby steps. Yeah, it's happening.
It's happening slow by small community Rebbe, small.
I mean, we had it in this exact seat. Rabbi Jacobson, Rabbi sat here, and he said that when he was a kid, he had a bald spot on his head because he would pull the hair out. He had such anxiety that he would pull hair out of his head.
So
he was so anxious.
So why is Be'emes an outlier, just like me?
Yeah.
So once told me, he said, Lipa, we're not talking every day, but we're on the same frequency. That's what he said to me twice already. So he's like on Instagram when it comes up feeds and I don't have time to look. When it comes up why I look, because it gives me chizik. And sometimes I want to leave him a message, and the reason I don't leave him a message, and that's what people should understand by me too, is because he's a busy man. And yes, it could be nice to get a compliment, but if he gets so many messages from people, he can't. So I'll meet him when I meet him.
He'll hear this and he'll get the compliment.
If he hears it, there was a thing for his shurim or the shul. I don't know if it was for Shayan's shul or for his private, something for him, a fundraising. I went for free to sing.
It was his 50th birthday, no?
Oh, 50th birthday.
I was there, yeah.
I went to sing because
MBD was there, Remo was there. Yeah.
I went to sing just because I agree with the mission. I'm very much about that stuff.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll do things if I really agree.
Passion.
Like I told you with this Bucher, like I charged to Askonim, I charged them money for the time. I have this thing if I one day want to become a official like healing or coaching, and I think that's going to work in my business, because if I take by the hour, people want to have consistency. So they come to me for 6 months, and now I have a busy week. 1 week I can't, and now I'm in Israel. It's hard. But if I do for a little bit more money, but I do one big session for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and then homework, and we do check-ins once a week, a 5-minute phone call, make it like a package, could be easier for me. So this is I took this with this Bucher.
Why do you think that
I met him once? I just want to say this, and I was trying to help him. Where was I going to go with this? I forgot. But because I was trying to help him, and it's also hard for me to get all this. He was asking me, why can't I be in touch with you every day? And you could, and you're a human being. But I explained, I also have my own life. I have to balance it.
Yeah, 100%. Well, why do you think that we're not more open about the struggles that people go through in our community?
I think at the beginning it makes very much sense, because the inventors of the communities after the Holocaust, they were deciding, again, the program was from higher up, but as the way we see it, and by the way, I say it not just to make myself because, B'siyata Shmai, or that to show religious aspects. I say it to remind, because Lamaisa Taka, we're little puppets, we do whatever you can.
100%.
It's meant to be, but it's also meant to be how we should speak now, and to open up. Like people tell me everything is bashit. I tell them it's also bashit how I should think, and I think different than you. So the inventors of this community were people who everything went according to their desire, to whatever they meant well, but whatever they did. So if Satmar Rebbe had a vision and he had a big following, so that vision became a big story.
Yeah.
If Skver made the first shtetl, and then Satmar Rebbe even said it, that he also wants to make a shtetl like Skver Rebbe. Let's say it could be without shtetl, for the good or for the bad, it would just be a street with it. Like I said before, the Italian, the Jew, would be different.
Yeah.
But they invented, so if you would come out and you want to say something, first of all, as a child, you don't even have a choice. I mean, you'll try to say something. The whole idea is that a child is helpless. A child is really, a child can't do it. What could a child do? Nothing. A child is just afraid to open the mouth. Then you come as saying, Yaman, you want to say something, you'll be like, and today I feel, because a lot of Askonim and even Rabbonim are helping themselves, I think it's getting better.
Yeah.
But in the past, you would be ostracized. You would be like a Musser. And what happens is, so if somebody, and the reason I started with the whole thing after the war is because, not to mention names, but if somebody has to make a choice, stick up for this little child or to protect his image, his company, what would he do? Like a guy asked me.
What we should do, we know what we should do.
There was a big event, not that big event, but there was a big event somewhere with some Rebbe who made something and they invited all the Hasidim. It's hard for people not to understand what I'm talking about, but it's okay. They invited me also, and I didn't go. It's hard for me. So a sibling of mine says, yeah, but you healed. I said, healing doesn't mean that I have to go out for dinner with somebody in the past that I was very hurt. Healing means that I'm moichel. I'm letting go. But if I don't believe in that whole thing, I don't have to go. And then I said to my sibling, I said, if you would go into that, whoever made the party, and he would say, I know there's going to be this big party now. I just want to talk from my heart. I went through a lot as a child. And I feel that for my healing, the only benefit would be if I go out on an interview and I say every little thing on TV, what happened to me, to the T, what happened as a child. That's going to really be my closure and my healing. And I want your blessing. I asked my sibling, would the guy give me a blessing? Or if he would have any control, would tell me, you're ruining me my whole thing. I'm working now on this whole big project and you coming with your nonsense. For sure, that's what he would tell me.
Right.
So I don't know what the solution is, but the problem is, as long it becomes a question of helping an innocent child or protecting a company, so what's going to happen? Now, why is it getting better? Because now the image has to be protected from a different side. If too many askonim are digging, and if too many therapists and if too many rabbunim are coming out, so now anything that touches anything that now the image has to be protected from the other side. Oh, of course we're gonna help. Of course we're gonna do. But
it's rough, yeah.
But also within reason. It's not yet.
I think it's changing because people
Changing
like you and people who are speaking up on this topic and talking about it.
Pesach prep is intense. We know, trust me, we know. The last thing that you want to be stressed about, though, is the wine. That is where kosherwine.com comes in. They are the #1 spot for kosher Pesach wines, and they make it ridiculously easy. I was recently talking to my friend, and he just told me that he placed his order at kosherwines.com, and I'm like trying to get an invite for the Seder, but don't worry, I'll be at Pesach with Bordeaux. But I'm sure they're getting their wine at kosherwine.com, because who doesn't get their wine at kosherwine.com? Nationwide shipping? Check. Expert picks? Check. One-click Pesach mixed cases? Check. And if you're heading to Orlando for Pesach, get this. White glove delivery to your villa. Yeah, that's legit. That means you pick your date online when you want it to get there, and they'll make sure it gets to you on time. Talking about delivery, they ship for free when you order 15 bottles or more. That's a great deal to make sure that you are stocked for the Sidarim. So no schlepping, no last minute runs. Make your Pesach smoother with kosherwine.com. Make sure to use promo code MM15 for $15 off your order. That's over $300. That is MM15 at kosherwine.com. Guys, it is super important that you stop what you're doing right now. You hit the link in the show notes below. Take a pause right now. And you're going to vote for Eretz HaKodesh in the World Zionist Congress. Okay, it is extremely important during these elections, which is running out, the time is running out, that you vote for Eretz HaKodesh. Do you value the fact that there is a mechitza at the Kaisel? Do you value the fact that people are able to sit in Eretz Yisrael and learn that the Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael exists in a strong way, that it's protected, that, you can go to a concert and be separate seating. You like those things? You value those things? That is Eretz HaKodesh's ticket. Okay, we need to make sure that they get more votes than they ever had before. 5 years ago was the first time they even got involved in this. Guys, over $2 billion is given out to organizations. And Eretz HaKodesh is advocating for the organizations that focus on Frum Yidden, the Orthodox Jews. Not to conservative Jewry, not to Reform Jewry. Okay, it is super important that organizations that value the Frum Yidden are supported, that the Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael is maintained. So it takes 3 minutes. You're going to go to Eretz HaKodesh's website right now. Hit the link in the show notes below. Vote. Vote, vote, vote. Your vote matters. They got 25,000 votes 5 years ago, and they got a big say. We are going for 100,000 this year. 100,000 votes. And it's only possible if you join me and vote. go ahead. You can make the difference. This episode is also sponsored by my friends at Atika. Yes, the clothing store, the beautiful shirts. By the way, the location in Muncie is probably the nicest place I've ever been to. It is nice. I mean, like, I wish my house looked like this place. I wanted to just pull out a mattress, lay down on the floor and say, wake me up when the sale is over. And what is that sale? 3 shirts for $100. Atika is amazing. Their shirts are built to last. I still wear their shirts that I bought literally 2 years ago. How awesome is that? Amazing. Shirts, suits, ties, shoes. Pesach is coming, my friends, and you don't want to be caught with nothing. You don't want to be saying, oh no, Shlomi, you only bought 1 shirt and we got 8 days now. We got work to do. How are we going to do this? No, honey, don't worry. We're going to stop by at Atika and we're going to get some new shirts. 3 shirts, $100. Atika, go ahead, stop by. And if you try to go to sleep on the floor there, they're not going to appreciate that. That's just a me thing. So don't do that. Enjoy.
It seems like you went through. It seems like you went through a lot as a child. That things happened. That you were hurt.
Yeah.
And you went through a lot of pain, and that really may be an explanation for a lot of people that saw all your ups and downs as a performer. Would you say that it stemmed from there?
It's definitely stemmed because what happened was that I didn't even know as a child what happened to me. Not to go on explicit,
Right.
but it wasn't even that somebody. I'm talking even from a illegal perspective or from the most worst perspective. What wasn't it that somebody was sitting down with me to explain what's gonna happen?
Right.
It wasn't anywhere of this way. It was really I didn't even know it hit me, and it happened more than once. I was this kid that psychologists say that you look at the eyes of the kid and you can see that he's a victim multiple times. And I finished the Columbia degree. I did so many things. I could have sit and learned. My father was such a holy man. My father didn't eat meat the whole week. He said, not from a very heilige thing, just so he shouldn't be tied by the shear. My father was a very holy man. He wanted me to sit and learn all day. He may not have had the IQ and chinuch exactly how to say it. He was comparing me to other kids. Why are you not like Dovidel? Why are you not like this? He didn't understand that it's putting me, but the love that he gave me is like, from his perspective, he really, like, I miss him very much.
He did everything he could.
But he didn't know
What you went through.
that I was already such a victim and that I didn't have the tools, not only afraid, and I say probably because my memory can't recall even this. So probably not only afraid, but didn't even know what to make sense. And the only thing, and I say most probably, what had to work for me is to crush it like as if it never happened. And my mind started to be wired in a very interesting way of living in daydream all the time in daydream, meaning, like, I'm telling you, when I say all the time, meaning you would talk to me now and I would be like, yeah, what? What?
Even as a kid, as a child.
As all as a child.
Yeah.
And after I got married, and my kids, and I hope now, I see, like 2 years ago, my son was in Shidduchim. That's how much real it is. My son was like afraid. You coming out, you talk this stuff, and I need Shidduchim, and then I'm single, and then I'm talking about this stuff. The realness and the rawness was so real that I was willing to give up my career. And talking in a time where I was singing mainly in Wilhelmsburg, and Abu Hashem spreading out to a lot of places. But I was really, it was so real. I felt like I don't care about my career. I don't care if I die and I have to come out. Like I was.
Wow, it hit you like a ton of bricks.
I was doing healing with certain people that I promised every time it came the morning and whatever. I promised with tears in my eyes that I'm going to become an activist. This is the rest of my life to protect children. And then a week goes by and I'm like, okay, the rational kicks in. I have a family. This is not my life. Now, even this interview, it's a balance. From a rational perspective, it's a balance. I have an achrayas. If I believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I have an achrayas to make a difference. Now, I have this theory lately that in the beginning, a therapist heard of something that happened. They were like, this is crazy. We got to do something with this person. Then they hear of another story. Okay, this person, this person. And then they realize, wow, 50 people, 100 people, 200 people, 300 people. And then they realize, okay, no, we got to take a step back. Maybe this is a virus that came from the Holocaust, came from thousands of years ago. Maybe this goes on for thousands of years. So maybe the idea is not to put in a prison. And I know I'm touching on a very difficult topic. I'm going to leave this to more professionals. But I'm saying is I think that many therapists realized, this is just my guess, that this is, if I would be a therapist, to realize that there was an epidemic. Not that there is, hopefully not today, but there was, when I was a child, there was an epidemic. I'm talking epidemic. I'm talking about a real epidemic. And probably thousands of children across the spectrum. And it's not going to help taking one person and penalizing one family. What's going to help is to get to the core of the issue and help people and talk about it. And maybe people go to do medicine and stuff that they're healing because we need to stop the bleeding instead of saying, oh, I'm going to take this person and now I'm going to go. Like, let's say I come out and I want to embarrass, like I'm going to embarrass a few hundred grandchildren of somebody. And what good is it going to do for me now?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, dangerous people need to be taken off. Obviously, they need to be. If there's someone still hurting someone.
So look, I went back to I went to. It's hard for me, but I went to a few classmates. One is a rabbi, and one is a philanthropist that still has shaykhs, like a lot. He's integrated a lot in the place. I believe that they're good people. One, the rabbi, I'm sure didn't do anything because he is he left and I think he went through. But kids, I called him for a reason, just for me for him to validate me. He was my class. He validated me more than I even know, more than I even remember. I don't remember. He said to me, I don't know what he said to me, look, kids, this other guy, I'm sure he told me this. All these people are off the street, like they're not involved in anything. And that he shouldn't worry about. But I remember I was arguing with him. I told him, I don't care. I'm gonna go. I could have seen myself getting into a danger. Like I was so.
Yeah.
I realized how my whole life was shaped. This is you talking only about the popularity. my whole way of thinking. Like I'm 7 years single.
Yeah, your marriage, your parent, like
my whole marriage, the whole way I got married, the whole way I lived, the whole way I got divorced. Everything was designed by a brain. A brain gets changed. I had a guy who did Askonos. He wanted me to go visit in the jail. I hope I don't trigger him because I'm very close with him now. And he wanted me to go visit somebody. And I charged him full price, like a wedding. And he says, my friend says, this is Lipa. He's charging you for a mitzvah full price. And then a week later, I called him up and I cried. I said, look, you don't know what I'm going through. You're taking me. I can't. And then 2 times he invited me and he was going to pay me. And I said, I can't go. And then this guy made it out. And at one point I went to Simcha and I hugged this guy because this is how it plays in my mind. Because Lamaisa, fine, this guy, hopefully, whatever, who knows. Okay, I have to also say this and hope I don't trigger anybody. I don't know the story.
Right.
I don't know what's true and what not. For other people's story. For my story, I know. And the reason, if there's one thing comes out from this interview, the gift for Klal Yisrael is if one message comes out, is this message. If anybody comes to you, that they went through something, the first thing you do is to say, I fully believe you. I love you. I fully believe you. And even I don't understand, I believe you. Because you're talking at age 45. I went to my family and one told me, it's Lushan Hara. And one told me, look, you can embarrass. And one told me, look, it's over. They're not there anymore. Just forget about it. And I went on Shabbos and was alone, one of my sons. And I lost it, Shabbos. I had to call. I had to call for help. I mean, I never spoke. I believe, why in other interviews I didn't say it. I believe it has to do with the energy, with your energy, with the energy of the room. I don't know. But I truly believe if I would have 2 siblings that would tell me, I love you, I believe you, come sit down, talk to me, I wouldn't lose it on Shabbos. I lost it, and I had to and I told my child everything. Because my inner child didn't care about the fact that I'm a father. My inner child needed someone to listen to me. And I took a video, and I was like, I'm going to come out. And in this video, I was like talking everything. And then, no, I don't have to come out. I come out like this a little bit, but basically to believe someone. And believe someone doesn't mean to take huge action. It doesn't mean we're going to go now, we're going to say, we're going to do. It means just
hold them.
Hold a person. I believe you. Can there be some people who make up a story? There could be. So what are you going to do? There's also people who go to the doctor, they think they have back pain and it's anxiety. But there are many people who suffer.
Yeah.
For more than 6 months, in all my healing, I was trying to make sense of things. I needed, and when the rational, like when you take medicine to certain things and you go very deep inside, all the rationality goes away. So only you could say the emotions come out and everything. So you're not rational. You're like, I'm going to go, and then when the rational comes in, okay, I have a life, I have to watch out. And when the rational kicked in every time, I needed to feel, okay, Lipa, if this is true, I need to know it was Tuesday, Lipa Schmeltzer, 2 p.m., give me the whole details. It took me a long time to realize I'm never going to know the details. Because my mind at the time was already not conscious. My mind was not conscious, and that trained my mind in 1 minute to go from conscious
to daydream.
And I had a therapist. He was a good man. I don't know, I should say his name, even Stephen Friedman at one point. He made Aliyah to Israel. I'll give him a plug. And we didn't know nothing about this. And it's interesting. You can go years in therapy and the therapist can't take this out of you. Because I think a therapist cannot tell you, a therapist cannot impose on you a story.
Right.
Because it's also dangerous. It has to come.
It's come from you.
And he said to me when you were a little child, you had to run away all the time. And you were not, at that time I thought it was the Patch and Chayder. I thought it was all this stuff. And my mother should be well. So now, you see, my mother, I'm not going to go, because I once spoke something and then I regret it. And I want to just say she did tzedekah, but she went through her own thing. And I went through, I'm just going to say this, but I will say one knaich, that I was not the regular kid. So let's say I had a younger brother and he behaved differently than me. I was the one that chapped a lot because something was screaming. I remember Zisha collects money in Rimnitz, whatever. He took me to a doctor. I remember till today. He said he always talks very fast and very loud. He said to the doctor, I'm talking very fast and loud. And I was a kid and they thought something is funny with me, and they wanted to check my ears if I hear good. And they checked my ears. And the doctor says, he hears perfectly fine. Now, in the normal life, they would know, okay, he hears perfectly well. He's jumping around. He's screaming. Maybe there's something. My father, who didn't have a extra dime to his name, spent for private rebbes. Now, let alone, I didn't have patience in the whole Chayder and was beaten up every week. He took private rebbes to teach me after Chayder when kids were playing, because obviously he doesn't understand the Gemara. So if I'll give him another rebbe for another extra hour, that's going to make it. And what they didn't know is that my mind is not in Chayder, my mind is not, and I didn't even know where my mind is. I didn't know. I was just running away. So when I was by Stephen Friedman, he said to me, you're running away because I told him stories from childhood. And he said, and now your mind doesn't need to run away, but it's still, the automatic behaviors runs away. So my kids were having a joke, and I hope I don't trigger them now. Oh, I wanted to tell you about my son, the Shidduchim, and I think because my son got married, and soon Be'ez Hashem I'll be a Zayda.
Amazing.
So I think that my kids now are not so triggered anymore because everything's settled and they see me in a different light. And also the whole healing, if nothing else, just for my kids, the fact that the whole healing, people talk about more about healing, my kids don't feel so stigmatized about it anymore.
Yeah.
So my kids had a joke, Shabbos by the table, like sometimes they would talk and I would be like, and they would make like a thing, like to bring me back to present. And it was like that, he is an artist and that's how it belongs. In the last 2 years, I'm so present. I'm so calm. My relationship with my kids changed. Like, I'm very open with them. My whole relationship, my loving relationship with my kids, and that's a whole other topic, was only about money. Okay, Tati, can you buy me this? Can you give me this? Okay, I'm going to wash dishes. Okay, I'll pay you $30. That was my way of loving. And now, the love is real there. I'm looking forward for Purim to have a breakfast with them. And it's I'm learning. I have one son. I learn nach with him, and it got very triggering for me. The Mefarshim, the stories, I don't know, it's not, and I'm busy and I'm on the phone and he's calling, he's very calm and he's telling me that Radak says and the Rashbam says. I said, let's change it. And I took Chovos Avuvos and I said, I want to learn for it because it strengthens my emunah. And I'm saying it is easiest, and I'm learning with him this. I'm learning with one son who's more similar than me in character. With him, I'm learning Mishnahs, and he knows that 2 weeks I can take abstinence, like the other one does, and he's calling 3 o'clock. This son, the 3 o'clock, he taught me, by the way, about Yiddishkeit, how beautiful it is, even the triggers that I had with everything. And that's our system. For him, he's going to need, he's married, okay, now it's Mount Tefillah, now it's Dafayomi, this is what he needs. My other son understands, okay, now 2 weeks, Tati's not in the zone, like, we'll learn, and then I'll learn, so with him I'll learn Mishnayos.
So beautiful, the relationship you have with your kids.
Yeah, and I didn't have that. I didn't learn with my kids.
No, but it seems like they really see you.
Yeah, now they see me and they get it. And even with them, they know my story. Like, I'm sure they see in the interviews that I don't know, but I'm sure they didn't see it a year ago because it was triggering for them. But I'm sure now they can.
How recent is all this healing and you know?
So from June last year, so just in the perspective, I'm going to be 37 March 17. We're now in March. From last June, a year ago, what is it, a year and a half? Was the first time I discovered a glimpse of what I've been through.
Really?
A glimpse.
Wow.
And then I didn't stop going back and I think one more. And this story, that story, it was like 6, 7 stories. And I was like, okay, this got to be made up because it can't be, 6, 7 stories?
Yeah.
Until finally, some stuff came back to memory, not the real stuff, but it came back a door. It came back like the keys. I remember somebody, whatever, showing me how organized his keys are. And he has the notes and every key. Like even now I can feel like throwing up. And I can only remember like a door. Like I can't remember anything. I remember a shortcut. And when I want to go there, I can only feel like a tractor, like a noise, like above me. And I can't remember nothing. So in a way, it's also even not fear. Let's say if I say a name of like for sure not. I'm saying in general because what about the 4 names I don't remember? Meaning there's certain things that I was so little, but it doesn't matter because even this, by the way, and there's a guy who teaches Kabbalah and he says that you should write a paper with the name of somebody who really hurt you, and then you should rewrite. You should take the same letter and instead of the name, write Boire Oilam. The Boire Oilam did this to me in a shortcut. The Boire Oilam did this to me in an office. It's very hard to grasp, but it changes the perspective.
Yeah.
Because really, it's taka. It's taka the Boire Oilam. It's a certain technique that was meant to bring me, and if I want to go very mystical, that I chose it before I came down here. I want this specific story. I want this should happen to me. This also? Really this? Yes. But it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt, but I know in the movie, in the book, it's going to bring me to where I need to be. And maybe only to heal people. Maybe only to, because I'm going to be the one guy that's going to speak here. And even while I'm sitting here still thinking, maybe I'm going to lose out on other few jobs. Maybe I'm going to, and just to not the fear of money. You know how many years I was having the fear? My marriage, to get married again. I was being afraid. What if I'm not providing enough? What if I don't dance on stage when I'm getting older? There's a million avenues I can do. I sell my art. I can become a healer. There's only 1% of the world that Taka has huge savings and da-da-da-da. So I'm making panosa. I'm all good. And I say this also to other people. Just live in the moment. When I sing my songs, it's one thing I can promise to everybody. Here and there could be a song I do because it's going to become a hit, blah, 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 blah. But for the most part, I sing my heart. When I sing about being present, it's because I'm struggling with it. I want to be present. I want to be... And Baruch Hashem, I can also say for those that make it... I always had that. I gave one plug for Stephen Friedman. I'll give a plug for Gitti Tversky and her husband, also very good people. And when the whole comeback happened, she told me, She said, "What? Come back, schmum back. You never went away." So fine, I changed. The emphasis taka because I was like when I cut my payas at one point, I really wanted to be more like Tinek. I thought maybe this is gonna be. I was searching. I didn't know. I'm gonna become Lubavitch. Whatever. I don't know. And now I know it's all one thing. I daven in Lubavitch happens to be. I daven in the 60 Haley. There's schools in my neighborhood.
If you're hurt or find yourself in an accident, which let's be real, it happens more than we like it, you need the right lawyer on your side. That's when you call the Rothenberg Law Firm. For over 55 years, they've been a cornerstone in our community, helping people just like you. They've won and collected billions of dollars for their clients. And the best part, if they don't win, you don't pay. When you choose Rothenberg, you're not just getting a lawyer, you're getting a trusted friend who treats you like family. They understand that a personal injury can turn your life upside down. So they go well beyond just legal representation. They will make sure your medical bills are paid by the appropriate parties and that your family is taken care of during this rough time. Everybody knows Rothenberg, so you know they're the name you can trust. So if you ever find yourself needing legal help, remember to head to injurylawyer.com or call them 1-800-624-8888 for a free case evaluation. Make sure to keep the Rothenberg Law Firm on speed dial because not every injury lawyer has the resources to stand up to the big corporations and insurance companies. They've been fighting the good fight for over 5 decades, and they are not slowing down. I hope you never need them, but if you do, the Rothenberg family is there for you. My friends, townappliance.com is the only appliance store that you need to know about, and they are doing an annual giveaway right now. Grill season is coming up, and they're giving away a Weber grill. Just head to their website, townappliance.com. You'll see a nice tab over there on the home screen. Apply. Very simple. Put in some information. Apply to win that grill because summer is coming and you want to be prepared. And while you're there, maybe poke around, maybe look around a little bit. Hey, maybe we need to replace this fridge. Maybe we need to get a new dishwasher, or maybe we're about to embark on a new construction project and Town Appliance can take care of us from A to Z when it comes to our appliances. So go ahead, townappliance.com. I love them. Their customer service is incredible. You can send them a message on WhatsApp even in the show notes below. Message them right now on WhatsApp. Say, hey, is this thing working? Meaningful People said I can message you and we can like get a deal done like this. And you'll be surprised. They have awesome customer service. They understand the needs of the firm community when it comes to appliances. So townappliance.com, head there, enter the giveaway right now, send them a message and get busy. Townappliance.com.
When you see videos of yourself from back in those days, what comes to mind for you?
So it's funny because most videos, so there's 2 types. Now sometimes people circulate videos of me singing. And the first thing I see is like, you probably know this from yourself maybe or from friends. When now it's different because everybody has WhatsApp. In the olden days, if you record yourself in a tape, before there was a recording, you were like either a composer or whatever, and you record yourself and you listen back. You felt like shame, like listening to yourself.
Yeah, I can't listen to myself.
Oh, but now it's easier because you listen to your voice note. It's different.
I don't.
Okay, so there's still such a thing, yeah? So when I go back to old stuff, it's hard for me sometimes to look at me. If I go back to my singing, I see her the way I am. And I did voice lessons. It didn't help. It was anxious. I was holding down to so much pain. I remember one of the first times before I knew anything, I was doing certain like medicine, and I was shaking my I remember the guy was organizing coming to me. It's in your mind. You don't have to shake. Just send love. And at that time I didn't understand. I said, "What do you mean? It's hurting me." I was holding down to so much. I think now I can talk to you now for another hour and go sing, and my voice will shine because it's all in here.
Yeah,
it had to go all from the. So when I look back, I see a poor inner child, even while singing, I see tight. Not only because of what I've been through, but also because of the community thinking, okay, he's good enough, not being loose. And now I'm much more loose. I myself, I talk, I sing. It's okay. It's okay if I go out from here and I regret certain things I said. I can hold the feelings. I don't have to call you and say, maybe this thing, I don't have to think back. I don't have to be like most people and say, I have to approve it. Let me look it over and let me ask my Rav to look it over. It's Hashem is looking it over. I spoke my heart, l'chaim, that's it. And I also want to say, this is important.
Yeah.
I even have an insecurity by saying this, but I think I have to say it. That when I say epidemic at that time, that means from all sides. That means that everybody who hurt people were people who were hurt. Nobody was being born. Nobody is being born like this. Nobody.
Her people.
Yeah. So I think what could have happened, like I have a picture of my father coming off the train from Switzerland, and I think my father sent me the picture. Randomly, somebody called me from my social media to tell me he looked for his ID and he found that it means the mugshot when they came off the train from the ghetto. And he has a bruised eye. A bruised eye. And you don't get a bruised eye from hunger. You don't get a bruised eye. I don't know what happened to him. He was a teenager, 16 years old. He got a punch or something from, like, it was like feeling, he showed me, I feel our whole healing started after he passed away. And I feel he's doing for me a lot. Now, what is he doing for me a lot? I'll leave this for YY. But I'm saying, because other worlds, it's not like he's doing with his beard.
Yeah.
The energy, whatever happens. But I feel that because the whole language, talking is a humanistic thing. So it's above language over there. Whatever it is, I feel that he wanted to show me. I don't know what he's been through. And could be in the Holocaust. Like, if you think about today, and I just want to give an analogy. Sometimes I wanted to Google this, and my fingers are already on the keypad, and I'm afraid to Google it because I don't want to wake up my pain. I don't want to get in too much to the story. But I was wondering, probably there's research on it, but I think that if today you hear stories that American soldiers, which is in 2020 in Afghanistan or whatever the year is exactly, in Iraq, and you can hear stories that people getting indicted because they were in the army and they did stuff. Yeah, maybe different ages, different. There's cannot no chance that Russian, Polish, 18-year-old soldiers, when the Jew was a piece of garbage,
right?
There's cannot no chance that people were not molested left and right. Cannot no chance. So it's my own debate if this is something that goes back thousands of years or even just from the Holocaust. There's cannot no chance that these people who came out and they didn't know how to deal. If the psychology says that people who do it, either they work on themselves, either they become protectors, either they become, that some of them didn't become. So we have to understand that we're now in a place of healing. This is not coming from a place of pointing a finger, because right. I'm planning how to middle age. I'm in a place of, let's just stop the bleeding. Stop the bleeding. Let everybody go for help. And I wish also people, doesn't matter what they have in mind, they shouldn't be afraid to go to a therapist between closed doors and say, I need to help myself in this before I do something dangerous. I wish there would be such a thing. I wish there would be the minimum awakening. And I think that we have. About healing Bechlal, my whole album I gave out, it cost me $100,000. And my last 2 albums, I made a limited edition. And it would be so easy after an interview like this, from a self-pity perspective, to come out and say, I'm selling this mug for $5,000. It helps me cover my expenses. And I would have 5 people buy it. And to train myself, I dafkana didn't do it. Because I was like, this is the most lishma. Yeah, there's pneus and I'm getting some pride in it. But really, I'm over the age of just, okay, they hear my song. It's like, I'm in a place where if this can bring awareness for healing, let there be people who say Lipa is too busy with this. Let there be people who give me this hard time a little bit. I'm okay. But if this can make a little bit people think that, let me not judge my sister-in-law, who is always talking about healing. Let me not judge my brother-in-law. And your neighbor's now to my sister, by the way, Bruchi, she's a great therapist.
Best people. The Brills are the best people.
I gave plugs to others I have to give her. She's a big therapist. She's helping. She's so the best. She's busy over her head, but I'm saying it. And also,
you come for Shabbos, Mr. Hashem.
I will, yeah. And also talking in healing in general, it's okay to make a limit. Everything in life is about balance.
Yeah.
If you make healing your new addiction, then that becomes your runaway. And only you can know the limits. Like if somebody, I did many things that in the normal way, even if I would ask anybody, they would tell me to slow down. But we talk about Hashem. Hashem knew that I had to, from like 5 times in, I realized I need to finish business until I don't finish. And when I finished, how do I know I finished? It may still come up, but I felt the message coming from within that I'm done. I'm done. I need to take a break. I'm now on a break from 18 months. And the last time I saw my father, his brother, like the whole family, my father's mother, and I think I'm different in the sense how I explain things, because most people, if they would say they saw their father, they would stop here. And then, oh, you saw your father, okay, nice. Like this guy says it's all about Rebbe, you saw Elionovi. So I always feel important to bring out the next layer, that I'm smart enough to say, if I can say so much, yes, smart enough to understand that this all could be in my head. Just like the subconscious brings up things in dreams. Not all the stories that happen, because there's a difference between a visual and a memory that just comes back. Like you remember where you parked your car and you go there and your car is there. We didn't go into every detail, but like I went and I, thank God, to my luck, to my muzzle, I had classmates. There were certain things I could put a puzzle together, even if not everything. So to tell me that I'm not Meshiga. But there's a big difference when someone goes deep inside. There's a difference between a visual that you see a father in a clown hat, or if a memory of reliving something. There's a difference. But some people want to make meaning of everything, even of a dream. And also in Yiddishkeit, we can go back in these places. So when I say I saw my father, it was more like in a dreamlike state. But it's still something, because I gave you 2 layers, I gave a 3rd layer, the psychological layer about it, that it doesn't matter. Because the mind is meant to make us feel good. And the reason the mind was hiding all the stories from me is so I can live life. And the reason now everything is back is because my life and my body can handle it. And the reason I have a certain visual of a dream that my father and the message is, okay, you're done, l'chaim, is because my mind gives me a certain moshel to help me think in a nice, beautiful, artistic way, you're done. And my mind, even if it makes up the moshel of just like imagining rain, it doesn't matter, because the purpose is what matters. So I think I'm in a balanced place to know what's true and what's just a message, and what's, like, I'm learning Kabbalah now, and this goes back to the same humbly honest way of saying publicly that I'm sometimes doubting myself. Who says this is true? That this is true? It doesn't matter, because it's true for me. Like, and this is emunah. I know a lot of people can struggle with emunah. There's no chance come out not to struggle today, because you go on the internet and there's so much information, YouTube, you see everything. So the message that I try to tell people is, you carry your truth. It's what is true. It's what you make it to be true. It's your emunah. From 7 billion people, what's the percentage of people who don't want to find meaning? Everybody wants meaning. So you're going to want to find meaning in a different place. I'll tell you a story that I never said publicly. So I was, in the beginning when I did healing, I only went with the jungle people, because I'm like, I'm not going to sit with Jewish people. I was so, like, I'm coming to heal my trauma. I'm going to dress up with this trauma when I sing, but to heal, I'm going to go to the other side. And I looked and this, and somebody helped me. And when I went there, they auctioned off the Rebbe's, the shaman's feathers. It's like auctioning off the Rebbe's hat. But in my mind, this was now my new real thing. I spent an embarrassing amount of money for me to buy the feathers. And they said, okay, the shaman is still going to go around, so we have to wait. One day we're gonna send it to you in a few months. I kept on waiting. Because to them was an organizer he made for only Hasidim, only some Lakewood also, but a lot of healing in Lakewood also, Baruch Hashem. So they made a thing with Hasidim, and they brought this guy, this company, let's say, this tribe. So the guy knew I was probably going to be there, so he called me up. Are you coming to this place? I'm going to bring you the feathers. He knew he had to give it to me. I paid for it up front. Lamaisa, long story short, in the morning after, he gave me this Osge blues and the feathers. Like, what I bought was yellow and red, like real feathers from a big, big bird. And he gave me the small feathers, like schmutzig, and I kind of was upset, but it wasn't all healing mode, so it didn't pass. Like, it's past. I was like, yeah, shkoyach, thank you. And he gave me this whole story that his great grandfather already blessed this, and he blah, blah, blah. And then I came home. I was like, come on, I paid for this beautiful. I don't know. I need this blue, yellow. What is he giving me? I said, I'm here for healing. I'm going to go, and I'm telling him the truth. So I sent him a WhatsApp message. I feel wrapped. He left me back a message. How dare you? You don't understand. This is charity. We're going to plant trees in Brazil, and we're doing this for charity, and you can't choose. We just gave you back a nice gesture. You can't choose what you have. I said, what are you talking about? I bought the exact red, yellow, the nice blue, big feathers. He gave me something a quarter of the size. He says, if you don't understand the holiness, that this grandfather already did this and this, then you give it back to me. And then it hit me. It was in the beginning of my journey. I said, you know what? I thought I come here for healing. I really come here for healing. Hashem is healing me. Because I was thinking I'm going to run away. And this is the perfect thing. You know something that we don't know. And you're in the jungle and the trees and the nature. And we're like, blah, 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 blah. And you got this down. I want these feathers. And now he's selling me something. I can sell you the Rebbe's Yid Beis Chalas. I'll send you the Bizes Hayom Matzah. I'll send you the Rebbe's Papash from Tisha B'Av. I'll send you the Rebbe's Machzer. And you'll give me a couple of $1,000. Because this Rebbe has this from his grandfather, who his great-grandfather told him that every time he's going to do this. I said, I'm not leaving one place to get into another place. I have my box. I'll stay there. L'chaim.
I love it. One last question. If there are people who are watching this who they themselves are at a point in life, maybe a little bit older now, and they feel a lot of pain, they feel a lot of anxiety, they feel like they've gone through something and they were hurt, and they haven't been able to find that peace yet. What would you tell them? If you could speak directly to them, what would you say to them?
So it's a little bit difficult because we all want to have that guru type thinking that I'm going to really help you.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, and it's very painful, that I cannot give an exact avenue. I can give chizik, but I cannot give an exact avenue. And then I'll give my chizik afterwards, but I have to say this very clear. Because I mentioned here medicine and stuff. Not everything is made for everybody. I myself have done many mistakes along the way. It was super bashet mistakes. But I had come sometimes to places that I felt I'm losing it. I'm losing I felt like, even now I have an appointment still to check something. I want to check, when we get in midlife, you check your kidneys, you check stuff. I did mistakes. I compare it to somebody who goes for cancer treatments. I don't know that experience, and I shouldn't know, but I do know that it has side effects. And you have to be very, very careful. And these are a few things I'm going to say in terms of my experience that I learned, and then I'm just going to say an overview chizik. Number one, I think many people get into the field, and because there's no degree, and because it's underground, they take advantage of vulnerable people. They take up the prices. The majority of people who come to healing don't have the funds for this. And the only reason it's possible to take advantage of them because they are so desperate and their uncle is going to help and they're going to borrow money. It's so not fair. You want to make money, do a different business. And if somebody takes up the money, so the other guy feels, they're going to say I'm this cheap guy, so I don't know what I'm doing. So I have to take a little bit more. It's so not fair. I was thinking one day, I don't want to get into legalities but if I would help people to do it in a way that, how can we balance that it shouldn't make people, it shouldn't cost so much money? People can't. I know I make money.
There's a beautiful therapy clinic in Muncie. They take insurance. It's very rare.
So beautiful.
They take insurance. Serenity Center, yeah.
So Serenity Center. Thank you. I don't even know who they are, but I'm going to plug it because he's on
They
behalf.
take insurance. People can't afford to pay. They can't pay.
People can't. It's just so not fair. So not fair. Hurting even my friends, some of them, because I don't say names, and I feel you can do with this information whatever you want. But if this goes viral for people to know, don't let yourself be taken advantage. If you don't know, ask around. Don't ask the person. I met a guy who's in real estate. He had a friend, and maybe I don't know the other side of the story. There's always two sides, but it doesn't matter because the teuchen is what matters. The one thing that's for sure true. This other guy's partner needed help. He tells me he went to this place. He took something. He never came back. The guy told him we're not good partners. And at that point, I said, I don't know the whole story. Maybe the talk are not good. But the guy for 2 years paid for this so-called guru $6,000 a month on payroll, so they should advise him. Now, meanwhile, this guy, what do they know about real estate? Because this guy became like this little child now. So this other guy is like, I'm going to help you. I'm going to guide you. You'll give me money. This is for one example of taking advantage. And this can also be in the healing field, of the vitamin field, of anything that doesn't have a regulated degree. Like I say degree, everybody who has a therapy degree is the best. Maybe not, but you have some leverage. They have a degree. You can say, look, the guy doesn't know. There's some leverage. The guy went to school. And now with Yiddish degrees, when some people take yeshiva credits and only go for like one summer to learn, it also becomes problematic, because the idea is that you went to a diverse group of people, you really saw different people, you really learned, and you really understand something. But that's like, okay, you have to find the right one, and you have to have Siyata D'Shmaya. I still didn't get to the Chizik line because I feel it so, because this is the Aleph base, because this guy, the middle-aged guy that's broken and lost, and finally he's breaking his whole ego and he wants to go for help, he'll go for anything, and he'll make many mistakes. And to him, first I have to say the emergency, don't do this. And the more people will talk like me and the more experience there will be on the street, people will understand, okay, so don't do any medicine if you don't have somewhere where you go to integrate it. Because you'll be just left alone. And okay, it just opens something in your brain. It's not healing. You have to really work it. If it's breath work, something to implement, like you go inside to your brain and I have an opportunity to change something, to eat healthier, do something, one thing, and make it a thing that you're not going back to do anything of this until you really implemented one thing in your life that's really strong. Go on a date. Go, if that was your Schwachkeit. Go on, stop eating sugar, stop eating alcohol, whatever, drinking alcohol, do something. I think I spoke enough about this. The chizik that I can give is, and the reason I always come back to journaling, which I do the least, but now a little bit more, is because you have to talk to yourself. And I have a song about self-talk with Amelech. And the idea comes from somebody who really helped me, but he told me not to say his name. It's part of his thing. So I'm not saying who, but anyway, the self-talk with Amelech is, self-talk can really help. But if you tell somebody, the middle-aged guy that you're talking about, just talk to yourself. Talk to yourself. It's like it doesn't work. In journaling, if you have to take an action and sit down and write, what you're ultimately really doing is talk to yourself. And even if you don't know how to journal, like I have a nephew, he says, I don't know how to journal. So I told him, write, I don't know how to journal. And then what could be the next sentence, for example? It's interesting, some people do. And what if I do know? And why don't I know? I don't know, as a kid I didn't write. Oh, as a kid it hit me, and it will just come out, and do the same thing every day and time it, because you do 2 lines and then your mind says, oh, you journaled already. No, 20 minutes. So from talking to yourself, this is like I think this is the basics, because every fancy thing you tell them, do breath work, do this, I call it fancy things because he has to take an action. He has to really make an appointment and go, but he's busy now. He wants a coffee. But journaling alone, if you don't want to do anything, don't. But if you really want to do something, the minimum, just talk to yourself. And if taka, you could go out in nature and taka talk to yourself and just walk for an hour and talk to yourself. This is a very interesting thing I did. Maybe for the first time, I did it 2 weeks ago. I sent a beautiful WhatsApp video about something I've done, a good thing. But it was in the Shidduchim area, and I felt, the confidence kicked in. I sent a beautiful WhatsApp video to someone of how beautiful I feel I did in this action. Except one difference. Up until now, you say, wow, I'm sending these videos all the time to my friends. I'm sending voice notes because you want them to tell you how beautiful you are. And then if they don't say it, you don't get satisfied. The difference is I send that video to myself. And 2 days later, I watched it. And I answered back in my WhatsApp, yes, you're so beautiful. You did it. Keep it up. And I felt emotional. And today with technology, can you imagine? You send yourself a message. And then you listen back to it in 3 days. And you're the only one that can answer the answer that you wanted to hear from your sister. You're the one that can give you the best answer 3 days from now. And listen and say, this is what I said. I'm so glad I didn't send it to my sister. Yichap. And I feel like almost the computer program from the Shamayim is reworking things and trying things. At one point, we didn't have enough. We didn't have food. People were fasting for days. And the people came up in heaven and said, Meshiga, this is what the world, Hashem, the Maluchim don't do a good job. We need more food. Okay, food. We need to communicate. Okay, technology. And the next generation will come up and said, Maluchim, it's too Meshiga, it's too much. We don't have manicha. I think we're figuring it out. So taking this technology, like I say, cameras came out because maybe someone came to Maluchim. I didn't remember all these good memories. Okay, we'll give you a camera, take pictures. So the next generation came, yeah, maybe it's a good song to make. Yeah, but I never looked at my albums. So only before Pesach, I made Pesach Day. Okay, you know what? We'll make a phone that it should come up pictures every day. And by the way, it's brilliant because now it's coming up, wow, that was a nice trip. Even if you look at it for a second. And maybe you take an exercise, the picture comes up from your device. that you spent some beautiful time 2 years ago, and look at it. Oh, wow. It's a reminder. I have good memories. Thank you. So, in the same token, send yourself a WhatsApp. This was a long answer. You see how passionate I am for this middle-aged person who goes through stuff. Unfortunately, it's too late to really dig in and go back and do something about what happened years ago. And yeah, the anger comes in, but we don't gain anything from the anger. And we also are not in charge to let go of the anger. This is also a very important point. Just let it go. It doesn't help. Just let it go. Even Lipa says it. You can't let it go. It's a chemical in your brain. It's there. Blah, 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 blah. So you have to take the action. How can I let it go? And all modalities could be good. For somebody it could be therapy. For somebody it could be Tillim. I started saying Tillim every day. And I even, this little child that says, Yanshi, you're telling me say Tillim. Yeah, say Tillim. And maybe since this song is Damelech, and therapy, nature, talk to yourself. You feel hard time to believe that Hashem is listening to you or what Hashem means is too far for you. I'm not going to be your guru now and miss this. Hashem is in you. Talk to yourself. Talk to your heart. You see Hashem in nature. Somebody made this beautiful trees. Talk to the trees. But talk it out, talk it out, talk it out. And then take some action. Or take some action with baby steps. But now I'm not going to answer. I'm going to ask you a question. And we're going to leave it as a question. You ask me about the middle-aged person who realizes how much pain he went through. And he doesn't know how to deal with it. And the answer was so lengthy, but I think it was a very important answer. What about the middle-aged person who knows that he's blocked in life? Somebody who needs to get married. Somebody who needs to go into business. Somebody who's so much blockages and he doesn't know why. That's tough. And that was me. But here I am today. Baruch Hashem, l'chaim.
L'chaim, Lipa Schmeltzer. L'chaim, l'chaim.
This was like such a deep interview that I feel relieved. I feel like whatever I used to say to people, I must, because I need the validation. And why did I need this? The inner child, because my life is public, and because of Toronto and all the stories, and to know that it wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
Like, you know that I never said this publicly. One of the people, I don't know if it's a good note to end the interview. You know, they say the first, you know what a rugza is? A rugza is like a sadness.
A what?
They say basically the first thing is always what the size. Like, let's say somebody comes into a room and he'll start screaming.
Mm-hmm.
Like he'll throw over a table. Like could be that the 200 people came beautifully dressed for the Shev Bruchas, but this guy just turned the whole Shev Bruchas into a circus. It's like the first person who makes that. So when I went through stuff, I'm talking an adult hood, you know, with the bands and everything, the big event, and you know, I'll tell you the story. I wanted to tell you something. I'll say it now. I was talking about the cane. It goes into the cane thing. Marshall. Talking about the weaving. so the Gemara was not weaving. The Gemara went from a little bit weaving and then went from the next.
So the Gemara created the weave.
Yeah. So anyway, when the first thing that came out in the papers against me, I was close with the Yiddish papers, with Yiddish writers. If already I said everything, so I can say it. So I knew that Dayan didn't put it in himself. And I went to find out who was the one that put it in. And by the way, at that time I wasn't so healthy as now, so I would be in a place of Nukoma. But that should just show you, I would be in a place of revenge. But I was alone. Couldn't even do revenge, even if I wanted. So I looked, who was the one that put in the paper, and it was the same one of the people who hurt me as a child. Now, I don't know if it was afraid of becoming a big, I don't know. And I didn't remember at the time the story as a child. He was in my chayde, so I remembered something going through with him, but I didn't remember. So I'm just saying, you could touch it on in Gilgilim, or you can touch it on Stam simple, whatever, the unfairness. But talking about the big event, what I want to tell you, I have to watch because I don't want to say a name because somebody's not alive and he meant well. I suffered so much shame at the time of the big event that the big event that happened a year later and everybody came, which I also suffered shame beforehand and backlash and whole whatever. I'm not going to go, that's a whole other interview. But just in a tiny anecdote, for the next big event, which money were collected because we have to do it for Lipa. We have to, because he went through. I didn't get paid a single cent because the organizers of the event, let it be as chis for the neshama that I say it, told me, look, you know, we've been through a lot of shame. You still sing at weddings and I don't. And at least you should do this for me. And for many times in victimhood, I did several things for free because of what I've been through at the big event. And I don't know if I was clear. Did you want to validate what I said? So I'll make sure you understand.
I understand that this guy got hurt also by doing the big event.
And I was supposed to pay him back.
It was like reparations.
So after a few years, I just cut off. And I want to, in a way, ask not Mechila, but like he's not alive, and saying, I just had to deal with my trauma. I couldn't be giving. I made an album for free because I couldn't. I had to just move on, you know? So, yeah, it should be good for everybody. And life can be brutal, but life can be beautiful. Yeah.
Hello, people. My name is
Lipa. That's it. And the truth is, I have to be thankful. And even from the state where I come from, when I started my career, you know, they helped me. I mean, the people helped me.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I got into the business. It was all meant to be. It was really all meant to be. I have a song I want to make on this. How the end ended up is all coming together. And I really feel I'm a different place in my life. I don't want to make CDs anymore just to make a song and people will tell me, oh, it's a really good song. Thank you. Because what do I really want when I give out another good song? Oh, really good. Thank you. What do I want? I want love. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I can love myself. I don't need to give out anything. I'm in the business. It's my panosa. For panosa purposes, together with inspiring people, all as a package. Okay. I'm going to work and give out stuff when it's really perfect, but not because I have to. I'll make it. I'll make a better one. Some people who have money and they invest in songs, and sometimes I want to sit down with them. What does it really want? You want a hug. You have panosa. What is it that you want? You want love. But now I'm measuring. I hope I didn't say everybody's entitled to make. I'm just saying for myself. Like if I would have big panosa now, and maybe that's why Hashem wants me to work and give us stuff, so he makes me having to work, because it could be otherwise I would say, okay, genig. So now it's about a balance, inspiration. I feel good a little bit, it's okay, but very within reason, very normal. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thank you, Hashem, for opening my mouth to say things the way I had to say it. And the inner child will tomorrow say, you didn't even say enough. And I'll tell the inner child, it's all good. Everybody knows, so good. Nobody needs to know. You need to know. You need to tell yourself. You need to hear it. Lipa, I love you. Lipa, all the fear for money. I have. If this Oisha is going to take me, if this philanthropist, maybe I'll send a good Shabbos, maybe he'll take me by the next job. This rich guy's going to take me. So the other guy, I'll be sukkahs in Israel, and the guy will say, come up to his sukkah because he's really good. He's making good parties. Then he's going to take you. All the blah, 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 blah. Panos says, Shamayim. Nobody needs to take me. Somebody takes me. I appreciate it. I have some philanthropists that I'm really close with. I have my friend Barry Weiss. I hope he doesn't Barry Weiss. Mechul's item. Was always by my side, always helping me. I call him to say good Shabbos, and when I have this thing in my head about the philanthropy, because he's on that side of the street, I'm like, there is a big Indian of Akur Satoif. And if it's mutual, and if we're really good friends, yes. So, Baruch Hashem, he has blessings, but it's mutual. But then if it's a guy, it's not mutual, and he doesn't answer the phone only once in 4 months because he's like this big philanthropist, and I come and I say good Shabbos because maybe then I get beat him. No, he'll come to me, say good Shabbos, I'll give him a nice blessing. All this Khanifa, Panos said, Bashir, what are you going to do when you're going to be 70, you know? What am I going to do? You're going to be 70 at all? You don't know. Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
I hope I'm still doing this.
Exactly. So the ego becomes, you want to become a mini God. What am I going to do? I have to. How am I going to get married? What's going to be? And it's all just flow. And talking about marriage, the people who are single, it comes Yom Tov now. For people who are single, it could be very difficult. I thank Hashem publicly that for me, I always have where to be. And and the popularity helps me. And I'm thinking sometimes the people who don't have that, and they're alone, how difficult it could be. Especially those who go through a daily divorce. and they can't see their kids. I want to beg you. For me, Baruch Hashem, everything was peaceful and is peaceful. And I wish my Gevezin, now she's married, she should have with her husband the best life. They should have everything. She should have everything in the world. It's not her fault. It's not my fault. It's not his fault. But the people are fighting. It's tzar b'lachaim. People can sit home alone, not seeing their kids. It could be meshiga, a yontif. So, Baruch Hashem, thank you Hashem for giving me all my stories just so I can share this in public, share this. And bring light to the world. Bring light to people. And for those who are afraid to go out on a date, go out. Because I was that guy. Close to 7 years. The first time now I'm starting. And thinking, do I know what I want? Hashem knows. And my neshama was not ready 2 years ago. Imagine if I get married 3 years ago, which would mean 4 years after my divorce, before knowing all my story.
You'd probably be back home again.
Bringing in a new wife and then starting all the time and then realizing what I've been through. Now, my vessel is open. I'm calm. And my views are different. It's not only about what title. It's about the inner. It's about the two neshumas, the plagifa that becomes one. It's about, okay, what is the common ground? How are we going to look in 10 years from now?
Yeah.
And then I want to wish everybody a kushan and piram, a freilich and peisach, Kabula, heilige lag Boimer, in a gesinnte Zimmer.
Lipa, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching, listening to this episode. Make sure to go ahead, leave a comment down below to enter this week's giveaway. You are not alone, or more than that if you'd like. A big thank you to all those that made this episode possible. And thank you for Lipa for really being vulnerable. I don't even know that this is the plan going in. It just kind of happened. So thank you. Really appreciate you, Lipa. If you want to buy the Meaningful People game, bring this Meaningful People experience to your house, head to meaningfulminute.org/the game. Get your hands on it today. We are running out. It's a perfect gift for Pesach. Order today. You'll have it for Pesach. Plenty of time to spare. And get it for your friends, get it for your family. To great conversation starters, kosher conversation starters for your family and for your friends. I also want to say that I appreciate every piece of feedback that we get from you. So please keep the feedback coming, whether it's the reviews on Apple or Spotify or the emails. The email is nachi@meaningfulminute.org. Love hearing from you. And go ahead and join Meaningful Minute Plus, the group that is right now for free. And we have so much content being posted every single day on WhatsApp. Hit the link down below in the show notes. I hope to see you there. Until next time, my friends, Nachi Gordon. See you next week.